Hi, I'm Helmut Licht. Thank you for joining me for this video number 16 in a series of videos entitled My God, Here, There, Everywhere. Please recall that I'm basing all my reasoning on the following 5 statements. Judgment and freedom of choice. There are consciousnesses of various sizes. The smaller ones depend to an extent on the larger ones of which they are a part. For instance, man versus community. Every consciousness divides the blends at a different place, which means that every consciousness has its own standard of good and bad. You might be on a ship in the middle of the ocean. On a starry night, you might position yourself such that the mast is in line with the North Star. Let's have the North Star and heading north symbolize good and doing good. As the ship, you, is heading toward the North Star, you say to yourself, incorrectly so, that you are on the good path. On the ship's plank, you mark the spot where you are standing with an X. The next night, the sky is cloud-covered, no stars to be seen. You position yourself on top of the X, point toward the mast, and say, that's where the North Star, good, should be. If the captain of the ship, by means of his compass, has kept the ship heading north, you would be correct. If, however, the captain has turned the ship into a different direction, the North Star, good, would not lie in the direction into which you are pointing. You might be heading south toward bad. The only way for you to always know where north good lies is for you to carry a compass. The captain might say that he is the supreme commander of the ship and that as long as you are on his ship, his orders have to be obeyed and that whatever he says goes. You have a choice to either accept him as the ultimate authority as to what is good and bad, or look beyond the ship's world to the larger world, the sky, the North Star, either directly when the sky is clear or indirectly by means of a compass. The country is the ship, the captain is the government, and the commandments are the compass. One commandment, thou shalt not kill, says that if you kill, you are heading south, bad. If you do not kill, you are heading north, good. Your country, the ship you are on, decides to go to war, which requires killing. You have to make a choice. You can look at the compass, the never-changing truth, the commandment, and one, say to yourself, the ship is off course and it is not heading north toward good. Or two, accept the government as the final authority and obey it. In the first case, you would refuse to kill, become a conscientious objector. In the second case, you would become a soldier and kill the enemy, because the country says that under the present circumstances, war, it's okay to kill. I said earlier that the dot can never leave the circle, for it would mean that the respective intelligence has stopped functioning in the normal way. For the intelligence to stay well, the dot has to be kept there, within the circle of its consciousness, which means that there has to be an awareness of good and bad. This awareness of good and bad should cause the consciousness to strive toward the good and away from the bad. Let us examine how this principle of self-improvement would work out on an individual basis by placing the torturer's circle of consciousness on the blend thwart ring, right and wrong. Wrong as it may seem to you and me, to a person who loves to torture and kill people, those acts would appear as right. In the Middle Ages, the king told the torturer to torture somebody. The king was the ultimate authority. To obey him was good, therefore, to an obedient subject, torturing was good. What would be called wrong by such a person would probably be torture and death to him. Through some form of awakening or realization, the torturer decides that killing is wrong, at which time killing sinks into the bad part of his thwart ring, right-wrong. Actually, his consciousness was raised, and with it the dot which divides his thwart ring into wrong and right. Continuing to become a better person, the torturer now decides that it is wrong to torture. Now his thwart ring looks like this. As the consciousness moves along the thwart ring blend, what once was considered right, but was really not so, becomes wrong. And with an evolving consciousness, this process continues. The consciousness seems to have three choices: to regress, to stay the same, or to progress along a given blend. Personally, I do not think that anything ever remains stationary, since all of nature is always in motion. As far as I'm concerned, we either regress or progress. Since my God, good and bad, since to my God, good and bad are combined into one quality which I call Bogadot, they are irrelevant to him. We, however, are a product of intelligence which operates in the time-change environment of our universe. Here, good and bad are realities and must be considered, understood, faced, and dealt with. The consciousness of an individual is part of a larger consciousness called family, community, city, state, country, the world, the solar system, the galaxy, etc. Every consciousness has its own way of separating a given blend, and this is where difficulties arise. Your blend thwart ring, right, wrong, may be divided such that killing is wrong. Your nation of which you are a part may be at war and order you to kill the enemy because its consciousness has separated its thwart ring such that killing lies in the right section. Do you go by your value system or by the nations? Since larger consciousnesses evolve from smaller consciousnesses, it stands to reason that the consciousness of a government, which is made up of the consciousnesses of the people, comes into existence after the people have come into existence. First there have to be people before there can be a government. Education and a sense of right and wrong have to begin with the smallest consciousness, in our case, the individual person. Ask any human being, is it right for anyone to kill you? And you would get a quick and firm no. Therefore, killing another human being is wrong. This standard or value or opinion must now be carried along into the larger consciousnesses. The family, the community, the city, the state, the country, the world. If it is wrong to kill on the individual human being level, then it is wrong to kill on any human level. You might expand your thwart ring to embrace even animals. Then it would also be wrong to kill animals. Why are there feuds and wars? When a group consciousness comes into existence because of a number of people forming a family, community, state, country, this consciousness can exist independently on the non-physical plane, but nevertheless exerts an influence on the family and receives its energy, character, and life from the individual members. A member of the family can ignore the existence of such a family consciousness and take on its role, in which case things are not always done in the true family spirit, but more often according to how this individual in charge feels and thinks. If, for instance, the person in charge is insulted and wants to retaliate, it will be done not on an individual level, but rather on the family level. Since the spirit of a group consciousness can never live in an individual member of the group, it should be kept separate from the group, but available to any member of the group for consultation and guidance. The original Constitution of the United States of America represents the spirit of such a group consciousness, which was recorded on a piece of paper for everyone to see and consult. I repeat, Things go wrong when an individual consciousness disregards or even usurps the group consciousness, takes charge of the group, and in so doing makes himself or herself its controller. His right becomes the group's right, and his wrong becomes the group's wrong. If his morals break down because of a personal insult and he wants to fight back, instead of doing so on an individual level, settle the matter between him and whoever insulted him, the group of which he is in charge is now pulled into the act of retribution. On the school level, this could result in a street gang fight. On the family level, the outcome is a feud. On the national level, it is war. If basic human rights would be established and carried through vertically on all levels of mankind and horizontally wherever human beings live, there would be no war, killing, cheating, or any of the things no human being wants. The universe is filled with an infinite number of consciousnesses, each one unique, each one of a different size and character. As a consciousness changes because of its inevitable experiences living is experiencing, its body and environment change. As bridge players are attracted to bridge players and golfers to golfers, so consciousnesses that are similar in their makeup are attracted to each other. All those consciousnesses that manifest as human beings do so because they are similar enough to be included in the family called mankind. But they are also different from each other. Some consciousnesses are well within the mean of the majority of the other humans and are therefore normal with respect to human standards. Others are borderline cases and will be unusual. All humans will have a basic sameness, a certain amount of incommonness, but besides that common factor or those common factors, much of every human being will also be very different from the rest. Through the genetic code, all human souls are fortunately bound to a certain basic human standard as far as appearance, etc. are concerned. This makes us similar, hence acceptable. Golfers come from completely different social, cultural, religious, and ethnic backgrounds, but converge in one place, the golf course, to share in a common experience for a longer or shorter period of time. Because of the genetic code of golfing, they all wear golf shoes, use golf clubs, speak golf jargon, abide by the golfing rules, etc. But once they leave the golf environment, each golfer's world is unique and very different from the other golfers. The golf part of their world takes up probably no more than 5% of their lives. We humans have come to this planet to play our game of golf, whatever that may be. Let's not forget that there is much more to our natures which belongs to another structure, another form of existence which has nothing at all to do with life on this earth. Be tolerant of others. You might be ridiculing a fellow golfer, a fellow human being, about his not so great game of golf, about the way he or she is handling life on this planet Earth. And then later, in another life, run across him and find out that he is the president of a company where you are seeking employment. Tolerate and be tolerated. Before you go, I would like to show you a few pieces of my art. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video. Thank you for your interest, and I will see you in my next video. Have a wonderful day.